Alright, so recording has started, and yeah, I'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
I'm operating at optimal levels.
Eh. If you're looking to just go kind of like straight on top, like jump straight where you're at, just consider jumping just straight up in the air, because then that can give you some increased survivability as they're trying to figure out where you are. It can allow you to land directly on top of yourself. So like if you ever like in a brawl on point, or like in a brawl and like everything's happening in one area and you just want to land back where you were, just jump straight up. That's usually an easy way to go about it.
I got you.
Alright, so in that situation, firstly, gotta be careful about staying in there when you're all on your own, so consider disengaging sooner. The other thing is you wasted a lot of your ammo before you even got near the McCree, right? So make sure we're not trying to Tesla when we're very far outside of our range of Tesla, because then it just wastes it and also reveals our location. Alright. So, as of the current moment, you didn't need to be contesting cart there because they weren't like about to cap, right? You still had its full, 8 seconds before they would even get it there. So, consider not jumping straight to point, but maybe for the people who are behind point, such as like the Zenyatta in that situation. Now that card is closer, of course, now we can start playing on point. It was just more so like when it was further back, we're trying to play on point, but we're going up against the McCree and the the Roadhog, when we have like a Zen and a Soldier and a Mercy who we can be shooting at, all of whom would be much easier targets to be actually killing.
Alright.
Alright,
It's nice I got priority reach queue.
nice.
Yeah, I haven't really been playing too much tank. Like, I've been mostly playing tank on quick play, and like when I'm doing lookup for group and stuff like that. Because like on my college esports team, I'm playing DPS
Okay.
because they said like it better fits them. And since I'm a Winston main, they typically don't like Winston too much.
Alright. Why is that?
I don't know. Like they prefer shield tank. I don't typically play much on tanks. Like the only on tank I can like play pretty well is Sig, but other than that, it's just like.
Okay, so are you now, because your team wants you to, are you looking to transition over to DPS at all, or are you wanting to play both of them, or?
I never really planned to transition to DPS until they said, "Hey, we want you to play DPS because this is really working." But I don't plan to like get off the tank role whatsoever because I love playing tank. Winston's my favorite hero.
Okay. Sounds good. So we'll just continue on here.
We got the best map here for play.
Yep.
This will protect us.
Consider jumping in at the Soldier there when he like jumped out, when he's out of position on his own there. Well, stay up there if it's just Mercy. Right, we dropped.
Hello there.
But then we gotta be aware because Mercy was just right next to us there.
My team's not here. Shit.
Alright. So got to pay attention there. I think there's just a lot of awareness things, right? So like soldiers out of position, not noticing it. Mercy's just flew past us, right? Not noticing it. Mercy's rezzing behind us, not noticing it. Jumping the point and team's not with us, not noticing it, right? So we want to make sure that we are paying attention to our surroundings, keeping our eyes open, right? Looking left, looking right, paying attention to where's my, especially there, where's my team at, where's the enemy team at. Make sure whenever you get kills, they are watching for those reses. You never ever have to worry about dead bodies unless they're on a mercy, right? So that's how team composition dictates your play style. You play differently when they're on a mercy than when they're not on a mercy. Okay.
Behind you.
Okay, did a lot of sitting around there. Make sure that we're being proactive and going in and doing things, right? Rather than just kind of sitting there and let soldier come in with the visor and do things. So be like going up and contesting that high ground, for example, on that soldier and the mercy, and then that gets you value rather than just sitting there and letting them come to you.
I get you.
Because in most situations, as a general rule of thumb, the aggressing team typically has the advantage. Okay. Also, make sure that we're disengaging faster in that last fight because we stayed around too long and then ended up getting staggered, right? We don't want to end up dying really late because then we come out and then our whole team's dead. Okay. Make sure we're not peaking and getting like semi-aggressive. I don't think we're getting super aggressive, but we're getting semi-aggressive when we had like 200 HP. Can't be doing that, right? Pay attention to your health bar. Might even consider backing up there because you're down a bunch of teammates and you didn't have supports with you, right? But we kind of stayed up a little too far and then that ended up getting us killed. So we have our whole team with us now. So let's... Alright. We have Primal there to maybe tank the Pulse Bomb. Additionally, again, remember we're attempting to aggress first, be the person going in and doing things. We'll go more in depth on that after this game is over, if needed.
30 seconds remaining.
Excuse me for dropping. There it is.
Okay, I think we kind of left our team in the dust there. Look at where your team's at like right now when we were all the way in their spawn. Right, so might have wanted to give it another 10 seconds waiting for them to come in with us.
You're far now. Get in there.
Very tough.
I like the jumping up in the air, that's good. Alright, how valuable is the Primal in a 1v6?
Not very valuable whatsoever.
Not very valuable. Yet, you know, we there in that fight, we went in way ahead of our team, right? And then we also did like kind of a 1v6 Primal in the last game we were in, right? When we did it up against the McCree and then their whole team came and shot at us, right? So make sure being aware and making sure that we are kind of coordinating with our team. We don't need, if our team's not on dive, we don't need them to come in with us, but they need to be in range of the fight. They need to be participating, right? If we're going in alone, then we're not creating any space. We're not allowing our team to do anything, right? That's our goal. Don't queue up for a game quite yet. We're going to talk for a little bit. So last time, I'm going to stream as well here. Last time, did we discuss like hard diving versus soft diving at all?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Did we discuss did we go over aggression scaling at all?
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm still quite confused on that.
Yeah. So go ahead. What's the confusion there?
Like, so like we're down 5v6.
Mhm.
like I'm supposed to like not be aggressive whatsoever.
No, not at all. Right. So aggression scaling, right? You adjust upward. So to reiterate here, how the aggression scale works is that you have a 0% as really passive, 100% as really aggressive, and 50% as your neutral. Right. When you get advantages and when you get opportunities, you play more aggressive. When you get disadvantages and when you have lack of resources, you play more passive. So in a scenario where you are down one player, so it's a 5v6, that would be a scenario where you'd be at like a 40% aggression. You would just adjust downwards a little bit because you're down a player. So in that case, you would be playing a little bit more passive, not getting out of the fight, you're not disengaging, but you're being a little bit more careful because you know you're at a little bit of a disadvantage in that situation, right? So you're still able to do things, you're still able to go and capitalize on opportunities, right? Because you have to remember as well that all these different things interact with each other. They're not independent. So you can, for example, be down a player and you could be at a 40%, but then all of a sudden you see somebody is off on their own and they're 1 HP. So now you might go up to a 100% because you see that opportunity to capitalize on, right? So they're all going to interact with each other, all these different things, and being down one person is not a 0%. Being down one person is going, you're going to kind of scale downwards. So you're down one person, you go to 40%. Two people, maybe that's like 30%. Now, like you're down maybe 3-4 people. That's maybe like a 20%. 5-6 around the 10 to 0%, right? That's how you're gonna scale downwards. Same way with upwards when you get picks and you're up people. Does that kind of make sense? Do I need to like explain anything more?
Uh, no, you don't. I also have another question,
Yeah,
which is
good.
like my biggest question right now because it's been like bothering me. Like, how do I be a team player as Winston? That's like been like my biggest concern,
Yeah.
really. Like, how can I help the team more besides like getting key elims and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
So as a tank, your goal, besides getting kills, right, your other primary objective is to create space. What space primarily relates to your team, right? It's giving your team the room to do things. Now, if you're going in and engaging 1v6 while your team is over there, then you're not creating space because your team is not even capable of doing anything, right? And if you're in the fight and you're sitting around, right, and we're right here and the whole team's there, well, now we're not creating space because we're not acting as a distraction, and our team doesn't have room to do things. Their tanks are just going to be up in their faces, right? They have shields, they have stuff in their way, they have people shooting at them. Now, us creating space, what that looks like is when we engage, now we draw attention to ourselves. We can force them to back up and give up space. We can get kills, which is a form of creating space. And all of this makes it easier for, especially our DPS. I'd say you're not less so to your supports, but primarily you're creating space for your DPS and your other tank to go in and get kills, right? You're making room for them to go and do things by being aggressive and taking attention. Now, like I said, if you are not engaging at all, you're not creating space. So if you're sitting here at the very, like, if the fight's happening and you're just chilling, space is not being created. Your team has no room to work with. They can't go in and do things because you're not making the room to do that. Now, if you're going in without your team, then your team's not even there to benefit from any space you might be creating, right? So there's that kind of makes sense, and how that kind of is your other way of getting value on Winston.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So good. Good.
nah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll try to do that next game. I'll do my best.
Mhm. So, I say pay attention to that aggression scaling reminder for like your lack of resources. Lack of resources entails: do I have health? Do I have abilities? Do I have my ultimate? Do I have ammo? Right, those are all resources. If you don't have those things, I'd say sorry. Let's take out ultimate out of that mix because that's more of an opportunity than a lack of resources. So let's just say, the primary ones are: do I have health? Do I have abilities, right? Those are resources. This can also draw maybe from the resources of your teammates, right? Does our team have resources? If your team can't support you, you might have to play a little bit more passive, right? Now you get more aggressive with opportunities. Opportunities can be things such as somebody is low, somebody's out of position, I have my ultimate, right? Those act as opportunities. Now, if you remember back to our hard dive versus soft dive, this is kind of similar, and these interact with each other again. Hard diving, you can go aggressive off of those opportunities and go in and do things and hard dive off of those opportunities, right? So if you have primal, hard diving, getting aggressive. If you have primal, you can be getting up to that 80, 100 range, right? When you see somebody's off on their own, out of position, right? We can get up to that 100 range because there's nothing stopping us from getting that free kill, right? If we see somebody who's low HP, might consider bumping it up to like a 60 or 70 to go in and finish off that kill, right? And then that's one less person for them to be shooting at you. So that's just, again, they're other ways to be thinking about it. I'd say that's probably one of the primary things I saw last game was there were times where we just weren't doing anything and times where we were trying to do way too much when we shouldn't have been, right? So understanding when those are is going to really allow us to better understand when we should be engaging, when we shouldn't be engaging. Does that kind of make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
So besides that, let's see, is there anything? I think that's it for the moment. That was the main thing that we were looking at in the last game. I'd say make sure we're. Oh yeah, so we were gonna talk about something else. You can go ahead and queue up for a game though. We were gonna talk about just engaging first. So when you sit around and let them engage, right? Let's think about this in terms of ultimates because it's easy to understand in ults. If they come in and they ult first, they inherently have the advantage. Ults that are used first generally get more value than ults that are used second. That's because if they come in and they primal, right, and they kill a bunch of people or they displace your team and they get value out of it, well now if you go in and primal, now you're going to have less people to support you. You're going to have less teammates alive to do things. They're going to have more people, and then therefore they're going to have more people to focus on you and shoot you down, and you're going to have less teammates to support you, right? So engaging first means that you get that jump on them, you get the surprise advantage, you get to control the flow of the fight, and you get more value out of your abilities and ultimates because you can kill them before they have a chance to use theirs, right? So that would be my recommendation. Don't let them just come to you. You go in and come to them, because then you might also be tempted to sit back and like shoot at their tanks if you're letting them come to you, right? You might be tempted to just sit there rather than actually going on the things that you want to be on, like their backline.
All
Right.
right,
So,
I'm in a game by the way.
thank you.
Volskaya defense.
Yep, I'm spectating you.
Traveling to Volskaya Industries.
Would jumping up on this platform right here be a good way to soft dive them a little bit?
Let's see. So to begin, we might want to consider just starting off behind them, right? Like on the high ground behind them, and then we can just drop on top of them. So you can jump up now, right? Get up there. Oh. So then we can just drop on them from above and then jump out to our team when we need to, right? You do want it to be almost sneaky though, right? Uh-oh. Probably jump over that, right?
Yeah.
The idea is we're letting them walk forward, so we're dropping from behind. We're not going to be able to do very much. Yeah, you might want to just let them kind of walk through. Okay. So I'm noticing a lot of bubble placements, just kind of like plopping it down on top of ourselves. Typically, we're gonna want to avoid those whenever possible. It's not that we never do those. It's just that they're not preferable because then we can't use it aggressively when we're going in and doing things, right? And then that means that we can't really get aggressive when we don't have bubble to get aggressive with. So whenever possible, avoid using it in that defensive manner, because typically you want it for when you're getting aggressive. Yeah, we can just leap up there and contest them. Right now we're just going for the softs while we're looking for hard dive opportunities. Yep, you're doing perfectly fine. You're contesting that high ground, which is good.
Barrier activated. Excuse me for dropping in.
Setting out the welcome mat.
I did not mean to place that bubble there.
Don't feel like you need to go in and go to them past the choke. You can let them come to you because it forces them through bad positioning. So think the difference between your attack and your defense, right? I'll talk in a minute.
Thanks, Dr. Ziegler.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Barrier activated.
Okay. So there, for example, rather than just plopping bubble on top of yourself, use it for when you jump on the Widowmaker, right? That cuts her off from healing, and that also means that you get increased survivability when you're getting aggressive. Okay, pretty good primal.
Barrier up. Excuse me for dropping in.
Okay, so if you, last game I was telling you to play more aggressive, right? You're on attack. If you are on attack and you sit there and never push, are you able to cap point?
No.
No, okay, now you're on defense. Is your objective to cap point?
No.
What's your objective?
Protect point.
Okay, so you don't need to be pushing past this choke then, because they need to come to you, right? They need to push through this bad positioning, and if they don't, then they're screwed. They can't do anything. So don't feel like you need to drop into them. You can just let them come up to you and come past that choke, right? And then if you see opportunities, then you can drop into them.
Barrier up.
Okay, probably another not so great bubble because we're just plopping it there. You only ever need to plop it down if it's like an extreme emergency situation where like you're low or a teammate is low or you're blocking like a ultimate or a very important ability like maybe someone's hooking at you.
Barrier activated.
But don't feel like you need to just put it there for random spam damage. That's not the case. Okay, so far we've been doing a lot better with managing our aggression. We're actually doing things and getting actual damage in and actual kills this game in comparison to last.
The power of destruction. I understand.
Activating the barrier.
Where did she place the turret?
Barrier up.
What is that melody?
Watch your target priority there. Maybe we'll. Oh. We've talked. Last time we talked about target priority. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, maybe we did not. So we might go over that then. Who to shoot at?
Onward and upward.
Yes, no. Probably maybe not.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right, then we'll discuss that. Alright, no, that's what you should have done. Alright, so let's talk target priority real quick here. So I'm gonna stream. I guess I don't actually need to be streaming. Alright, so when it comes to target priority and who you should be shooting at and who you should be looking at, generally the rule of thumb is you should be shooting at and looking at the easiest targets to kill, right? Typically, that's not going to be tanks. Tanks have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have shields, they have armor, they have tanking abilities, and usually and some of them have very high mobility, right? So tanks are very, very difficult to kill. And that means that we probably don't want to be spending a lot of time trying to kill them. Now, the exceptions would be, that's not to say, you know, we never shoot at them. There's exceptions. We can shoot at them when they're low, when they're out of position, when they're the only thing we can shoot at. So think, for example, if you're playing Reinhardt, can you instantly get to their backline, their squishies?
Survival of the
No.
fittest.
No. Now, Monkey, can you instantly get to their backline?
Yes.
So now that one might not apply to Monkey as much as it would apply to Reinhardt, but maybe you don't have jump, right? Or maybe you just have people, you know, their squishies are standing like on top of their tanks, right? Stuff like that. So there's going to be situations where we can't really effectively get to them. And in those cases, shooting at tanks is fine, right? But we don't want to actively be shooting at tanks if we can help it. And for example, in that last, we have seen a couple instances of that, but like in that last fight before we ended up coming back and stalling, we started off shooting at the Orisa, and then we came back and dropped on the Roadhog, even though there was like people, their squishy targets being like Sigma Flux up in the air, right? And that would have been a really easy situation to go in and dive those people like right as they're coming down from the Sigma Flux and landing, right? We can dive in, jump on top of them, and just finish them off when they're half HP or lower, right?
Right.
So that's that. They're even within these squishy targets, so that anything is squishy is non-tank, right? So even within those guys, the DPS and supports, there's still going to be a hierarchy of who's easier and harder to kill, right? Like who's harder to kill, a Tracer or an Ana?
And Ana.
An Ana. Who's no. Tracer is very much harder to kill than Ana is.
Well, yeah, I
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
I'd be confused that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're good. you got the idea. I mean, you just answered wrong. Yeah, so who's harder to kill, a Hanzo or a Lucio?
I would say Lucio.
Yep, exactly. He has self-healing, he has speed. Hanzo just has a little jump. Right, so, you got it right. So we want to be coming up with that kind of hierarchy in our head, usually like on a round by round basis. Once you get good at it, it could even be in between fights. If people swap characters, you can be thinking about it. But to make it easy on yourself, you can think about that like just at the very beginning of each round, right? Look at what's their team at, like what's their team running, who should I be looking to go for, who's the hardest, who's the easiest, and put that kind of in an order, right? That way we can be actively targeting the easiest things to kill, and that gets us a lot more kills. You can go ahead and queue up for a game here.
Okay.
I think, yeah, one other thing I'd mention is make sure that we're not wasting our ammo. I've noticed that a lot of times we're just left clicking when we're way too far away from people, right? So note that your range with your beam is 9 meters, it looks like, or let's see, it's 9 meters. Yep, so if you got a game, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I can all defense.
Yep, so your range on your Tesla cannon is 9 meters. If you step to 10 meters, you can't hit people. Very often are we at like 12, like we're at like 15 meters on several occasions, and we're left clicking as if we're gonna hit them when we're way too far away, right? So make sure we're not left clicking, because then it just wastes ammo for when you're actually on top of the person, right? Use that time to reload, use that time to just not shoot, and then that way you have all your ammo when you're on top of them, right? If you're being sneaky, that also reveals your position earlier. I'm spectating you now.
Traveling to Eichenwald.
I hate to break this to everyone, but
Okay, so here, we can just play off of this high ground. We can let them walk in. When they're right below you here, you can just drop on their heads, place a bubble, leap back to high ground when you feel pressured, right? And then that's your soft diving, and you're just gonna repeat that and keep going with it until they push through choke. Then you change it up a little bit. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Defend objective
I don't know what these two are going for, but I don't like it.
Yeah. So might have to have a discussion on that in a moment.
I've rearranged your molecules. Ouch!
Yep, like there, for example, keep pressuring the Moira rather than swapping to the Monkey, right? Probably just much easier target to finish off. Good eye on the Moira. Here, right? Pressure your advantage. You're up, like, you know, 4 people or something like that. So we just want to be going in and finishing off those stragglers. That way we can get stagger kills. So just make sure watching kill feed and paying attention to what's going on in the fight. That's the point, right? When we're up like 4 people, that's where we're at like, you know, 80, 100% aggression.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Feeling powerful, and I'm not even angry. Put it out!
Double kill. We will heal you.
Yeah, keep pressuring there. You have all your HP and you're up, you know, 4 people, right? And we're backing up. So that's an example, right? It's not a terrible example, but that's an example of where our aggression should have been an 80 to 100, and we back up like we're at a 20, right? And then possibly, not saying it is, but possibly for that reason, that ends up leading to like 2 of your teammates getting picked, right?
Yeah.
So here, like someone's up really far by themselves, yeah.
Get into position. Yahi parambasta victa hai.
Very hot.
When you see that like that Symmetra is like half like that, you probably can just dive in after her, because remember you have Primal, right? That's your get out of jail free card. You can get extra aggressive when you have that. So when you see that Symmetra is half, that's an opportunity to go in and engage. Drop that bubble. Saves you some damage. It'll be recharging when you're primaling anyways.
Pardon me.
Time to heal up. Ladies and gentlemen, shut your engines.
Okay, up really high. We can even be pushing like that Hanzo if we wanted. uh, that's awkward.
My will made real. I'm under attack.
Yeah, very nice.
I sense a pattern developing.
60 seconds.
Hello. Coming through.
Yep, it's perfectly fine to do that. Consider not jumping up that far, because you have like just go to where your Ana is, right, rather than just full backing up, because that mini is not worth putting yourself out of the fight for that long, right? Especially when you're up a bunch of people. So not a bad idea to back up, just backed up too far.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Watch that shatter, right? We can jump away from it. We have bubble for it, so we have ways to counter that if we are watching for it. Now, I'm not going to get into the depths of ult tracking, because that gets much more complicated than your current skill level. But just make sure you're keeping your eye on it and being aware of the fact that he has shatter. Don't need to go super in depth on it though. Okay. Watch, you know, think, do I have my team with me? Answers as of the moment, not really.
Feeling powerful.
It was worth a shot. I don't know why she used her nano, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
In that situation, just,
Okay.
you know, walking through the little room and just poking at them a little bit is fine.
This will protect us.
Okay. Watch the health bar currently, right? So you just gotta be careful. We know we do have primal, so we can always use that if we need to.
I don't
Okay.
see I don't see my Ana anywhere, so I'm not even gonna
She died.
advance.
Yeah, so that might be like time to like rotate to grab like a if you know that both your supports are dead and you're 200 HP, might be a time to go find a health pack, right? Um, but now your supports are walking back and we're running away from them. So make sure we're being aware of where they're at, right? That's team awareness, looking around us, seeing where's my support at? Where, you know, are they here? Are they gone? Are they dead? And then that gives us very important information to work with.
Barrier activated.
And awareness impacts your aggression. Now, just to clarify as well here, it looks as though we're done with a lot of the demonstration stuff. So I'm going to be talking a lot more while you're playing, giving you these reminders to like say, hey, this is where you should be going in and doing stuff, right? This is where you should be playing passive, based off of aggression, giving you those reminders, and then that hopefully will get you into these habits of actually doing it yourself. So I'm going to be that voice in your head, giving you the reminders, and then your goal is to be your own voice in your head at some point.
Yeah, I need that voice in my head telling me this stuff.
Yep. And that is the objective. Nice kills. This is a good decision for you to be up here because your team's up here. We'll maybe go over that after the game is over here. Might recommend looking up at the top of your screen.
Thank you.
Right?
No passion.
Time to accelerate. Nothing to
Barrier activated.
I'm gonna wait to use primal.
30 seconds.
Oh, Junk's chasing me.
Okay, good job isolating that Ana. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Hello there.
Okay. Rotate over to where your Moira can see you, right? Like go drop on that right side so that she can heal you and whatnot. Request healing. Just make sure that you're putting yourself within vision of her so you can actually get heals.
This will heal you. Double kill.
I'm on a roll.
Solution.
Oh.
This will protect us.
Power of destruction. My will made real.
No, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Alright.
This is my will.
Once more unto the breach.
Oh. Keep your
There's
ears
also
open,
unfortunate-
Bubble. Did we talk about all your audio settings last time?
Yeah.
Yep, alright. So you do have surround sound on, just making sure.
I don't know if my headphones support that actually.
Okay, if your headphones don't have software for that, try turning it on in-game. There's an in-game option for it. So
Alright.
we can discuss that afterwards.
The power of destruction.
Barrier up.
Double kill.
Nice aggression. Alright, still you can still be pushing, right? Because we're up so many. Oh. Watch the health bar. Right now we might want to be like getting healed up.
Yeah.
I could use some healing.
Allow me.
Yep. Not a needed bubble, right? Because that's just soaking up spam. Usually you don't want to just use bubble for spam. Use it when you're low. Use it when your teammates are low. Blocking ults, blocking important abilities. You can use it when you're getting really aggressive and going in, right? And you can use it defensively if you see you're blocking like a ton of damage, right? Like think for example your team's all in a grav or something.
Fascinating.
But you don't need it when you're just soaking up a couple junk pellets because it's more useful in other scenarios.
Touch from afar.
Need healing.
This will improve your condition.
What are they?
I've sighted the enemy. Get in into position.
Watch that. Yep. Exactly. All right. Good game. So, how did that game feel in like the two things I'm looking at are how does that game feel in comparison to the first game in terms of aggression, but then also the value you got out of it?
In terms of aggression, I feel like on a scale of 1 to 10 now, I think I did aggressively. I think I was like 7 out of 10 for me.
Mhm. All
Because
right.
maybe there were opportunities I didn't notice that I could have went
Yeah.
aggressive, but
Mhm.
maybe not.
But definitely a
And
lot better than the first one. Yeah.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm. And then how do you feel like that translated in terms of value?
In terms of value,
Mhm.
I think it's like probably 8 out of 10, maybe
Yeah.
8.5.
Yep, I definitely would say that just like looking at the difference between the two games, you were definitely in there a lot more often, creating a lot more space, using your abilities better, going in and actually getting kills and doing damage, which is all really important. So, let's see. I was gonna go over I think two things. One thing's missing on the tip of my tongue, but the other thing was last time just making sure we reviewed it. Last time was did we go over how to apply the things we're working on?
I don't think so.
So that as the general idea would have been focusing. Do you recall us having a conversation about that?
Like, how so?
If not, that's fine. We can do if it is something, it'll be a quick review for you. If it's not, then this is really important. So, how do you look to apply this stuff? Because sometimes it can feel complicated. It can feel, maybe difficult to actually put into your gameplay. So the way that you put everything we're talking about into your gameplay is the same way that you put just anything IRL into your gameplay or just anything in general, and that is while you are playing, you're going to intentionally focus on the thing you're trying to work on. That means that you're not going to autopilot, you're not going to just play to play, and you're contrary to popular belief, you're not just going to purely play to win, as when you do that, you end up kind of stagnating where you don't go anywhere, whereas when you play to improve, you actually end up winning more because you get better. Now, what that looks like within your gameplay, so let's take, for example, aggression being our big one. So we'd select aggression and we'd be thinking to ourselves, aggression, 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 go, 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 back, 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 right? Giving ourselves a constant reminder to think about how we're being aggressive, right? And when we do that, as you just saw from this last game, when I'm being that voice in your head, giving you that constant reminder, that's essentially what I was doing there was I was being that voice. You saw that your aggression was much more solid. It looked a lot better because you're thinking about it. You're actively putting in the effort. When you do that for a long enough period of time, it will form it as a positive habit. Then you won't need to put in that same level of effort because it will come a lot more naturally. Now you have the brain capacity to work on something else. You can move on to something else. Now I would recommend don't try to do everything all at once. That will get overwhelming. We've talked about a lot of different things. Don't try to go and do everything. Instead, pick one category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category, especially if we're working with something like awareness/aggression, right? That is a very massive category of things because it's basically two categories, two big categories in one, but they just pair so well together that you kind of have to put them together, right? So I would recommend probably breaking that down into smaller points when you're thinking about working on it rather than just saying, I'm going to work on awareness/aggression, right? Um,
Right.
so does that all make sense in terms of how you apply things?
Yeah, it does.
All right, that is good. So there's one other thing I thought I was going to talk about, but I'm not sure if I remember what it was. Do you remember?
Wasn't it about like when the Junkrat and Reinhardt were like all the way? Are they
Yes, yep.
gone?
Thank you very much. So, in that situation, did you maybe have going through your head the conundrum where you're thinking, am I supposed to be up there? They're overextending, aren't they? Right? Is that
Uh,
good?
Absolutely not. I was just
No?
like,
Hmm.
what were they doing? They're gonna get
Yeah.
themselves killed.
So so in that situation, would you say that like if you were to have that same situation again, is it a better decision for you to back up or to push forwards with them?
Wouldn't the right answer be push forward?
Yes, it would be. Um, you have maybe an inkling of why?
Because a 2v6 is better, like a 3v6 is better than a 2v6.
Yeah. It's this is a quote from Jane, who is a Overwatch League coach, popular streamer. He says that when one person is doing something stupid, that's called feeding. When 6 people are doing something stupid, that's called a strategy, right? So if you just saw Reinhardt charging into their spawn by himself, not a whole lot you can do about that. Let him do it. It's not the end of the world. Come into, you can still win that fight and then come into the next fight if you lose it. If you see like 2, 3, 4 people are up there and you think that they're in bad positioning, go and be in bad positioning with them, because it's better that you go and be in that bad positioning, because otherwise you're putting them at a massive disadvantage, right? Because what are you going to do by sitting back and doing nothing? So,
Wait, hold
it,
up, hold
yep.
up.
Mhm.
Sorry, my schoolmates were asking me about Ryan Reynolds. Go on.
Yeah, you're good. So yeah, that I pretty much just finished it. So if you feel like your team's overextending, usually a general rule is if it's like 1, maybe 2 people, then you kind of let them feed. If you feel like you can, if it's like 2 plus or 3 plus people, and you feel like you're able to go get to them in time, go and support them, because it's better that you be with them than just sit back and then lose the fight, right? Um,
Right.
so then besides that, we currently have like 10 more minutes ish, somewhere around that. So you can probably look to just queue up for another game here, I believe.
It'll take like 30 seconds to queue for a
Yep.
game because no one plays tank.
Yep.
I'm like the one of like probably 500 people that like playing tank. Would it be a bad idea to play someone else? Or,
As in someone else other than Winston?
yeah.
No, it would not matter very much. I mean, we just note that we wouldn't have like a ton of time to review them, since this is probably the last one, and we might even I might even cut you out in like a couple minutes here and like ask you to leave the game. So you probably only get like 2 to 4 minutes of actual time on them. So
hmm Yeah, I'll just go.
plus Monkey's good
Because,
on this map anyways.
yes, it is.
Justice ain't gonna dispense.
So my overall strategy on this map when I'm attacking,
Mhm.
like this is what I do like almost every time. I go down this little hole, go behind them on the high ground, and try to knock them off.
As Monkey,
Yes.
I would probably say that as it worked out for you well before.
Yeah, it's worked out for me plenty
Yeah.
of times.
All right, that's interesting. I would probably say that Monkey doesn't have like a super great like booping potential just with his leap. That typically like your objective in a lot of cases shouldn't be, because it's kind of inconsistent and very tiny. So I'd say that you, in a lot of situations, you'd be better coming up that left side and just soft poking, like soft diving the high ground. So just come up like this left side and then just like go for soft dives. I mean, wrapping around isn't like a terrible idea.
Never mind on that.
Yeah. Like if you need to, you kind of do a 2-step, right? Like you can use a leap to get underneath them and then go from there, right? Because you need to have that cover to work with, right?
Right.
Right. Bubble, right? Basically, as soon as you're going up there, you're bubbling. That's one of the main primary purposes of your bubble.
That's better.
Possibly could win that duel there. So like consider staying if you have a leap and you are going up against an Ashe who's half HP.
hmm
Like yes, you're half HP, but you might be able to kill her faster than she can kill you. Again, consider leaping and then bubbling, right, when you're on top of those guys. We're just a lot of the times our bubbles are just getting plopped, right? In most situations, your bubble is when you dive in on top of people, because again, it cuts off their healing, it cuts off their team support. It means that you can dance around it and not get shot and stunned and slept and whatever by them, and it also stops their teammates from being able to shoot at you, right? So it just gives you a lot of defensive capabilities when you're getting really offensive. That's not to say that you never use it for anything else, but it's situational where you would use it for anything else. Right now, we probably want to just be taking their high ground above them. That just gives us like room to work with because we can drop from above, right? So now that we have like our abilities back, we can drop. Again, if you want to just stick around longer, bubble, because then you can have that survivability to stick around longer. Right, so like there, for example, where you're able, because we bubble, we're able to stay there and actually secure 2 kills, right? In comparison to the first time we go in, we are backing out pretty much immediately.
Thank you.
Yep, good repositioning. I like it.
Do something!
Try leaping to the side in that situation, but besides that, not a ton you can do. Might even consider, if you see that like he's trapping you there, might consider like not primaling, right? If you know that it's just gonna waste the ultimate. Kind of depends on your read of the situation.
The payload is halted.
Watch, do I have my team with you? Before you're aggressing, you always want to kind of do a quick turnaround 360. Do I have people with me? Do I not have them with me? Remembering that probably our first step here, rather than fighting Hog, is probably like take the high ground above them and then kind of do what we did last time. That might have, like, honestly, it might have been a situation where you could have gone for Hog because he was so far out of position in comparison to his team. So honestly, like that original time when I said to get off of him, I might not have even seen that his team is that far back.
Yeah, he was very far back.
Yeah.
He was trying to flank us like a typical hot.
So if he's that far out of position, that's a situation where you might even be able to, go in on him.
Enemy turret neutralized.
Oh.
That's a shame.
All right, leave this game real quick because we're probably not going to have enough time to finish it out there. So we're going to go over the main points of the session, do a quick review, and then wrap it up from there.
Alright.
So, ability usage, bubble. Bubble is used when you are blocking. You can use bubble to defend yourself when you are low, and not just low, right? Because you can be low, because there's a difference between being low and being in danger, right? I can be critical HP and hiding in this corner and not need bubble because I'm completely safe, right? And I can be full HP and right here and be in a lot more danger because I'm surrounded by 3 people, right? So there's a difference between the two. You want to identify the situation. Being just low isn't always, right? Isn't always the problem. Usually it's low and in danger or in danger that are the times where you'd be bubbling for yourself, right? Also same with teammates, right? You bubble when they're low and in danger. You bubble when you're blocking big important abilities, not something tiny, right? But something important like a hook, right? You can bubble up against ultimates because better to use. It's 100% valuable to use your ability to stop an ult, right? Like a shatter or a bomb. You can also bubble when you are getting, this is the big time where you're usually going to be using it, is when you're getting aggressive, when you're going in, when we're going like this on top of somebody. This isolates them. This makes it so that you can do what you call shield dancing, where you go in and out of this. So if they go right side, you go right. So watch this, right? He comes through. Oh, never mind, I ran out. All right. Let's see if we can come over here on somebody else. Okay, we bubble. He comes through. We go this side, right? he comes through over to my side, I go this side, right? That way I'm constantly on the other side of him. That's called shield dancing. And we're going to go to the other side. That way he can't shoot at us, but we can shoot at them for free. And this also blocks them from getting healing. The blocks enemy team from supporting and shooting us. Overall, that's going to be how you're using it most of the time. Don't just plot. And you can also use it when you're blocking a ton of spam damage, like someone's grabbed. Don't just soak up random spam damage with it. Most of the time, you're not just going to plop it in place and let it do things. Okay, jump. I think jump you're doing pretty good with. Sometimes you're jumping into things. Sometimes you just want to work on it a little bit. Overall, I think you're doing pretty good with jump. So overall ability usage just probably goes to like low to medium around that range for you to work on. Low to medium priority. Ultimate usage, honestly, like we could probably work with the mechanics a little bit, making sure that we're not using it like when we're alone, making sure that we're using it like as a get out of jail free card and not holding on to it. Besides that, not too shabby, not too terrible, probably like a low to medium priority for you to work on. Then Winston does not have mechanics per se, but we did talk about like actions, or not, we did talk a little bit about action per minute, actions per minute, making sure that we are doing things actively and not just sitting around. But then the other thing is target priority, right? Making sure we're shooting at the easy things to shoot at, not the hard things to shoot at. Also within this category goes making sure we're not Teslaing randomly when we're too far out of range. Don't reload when you're in the middle shooting at people. Do reload when there's nobody to shoot at. Sometimes we'd just be sitting at 20 20 ammo, and then go in aggressively when we didn't have any ammo, right? So
Right.
all of that probably goes to like a low to medium around that range priority. Then finally, or then we have positioning. Positioning is make sure we're using cover, making sure that we are on the defense, letting them come to us through choke points and through no man's lands. We didn't talk about no man's land at all, but choke points, you're probably familiar with. It's just any small funnel where they have to walk through. You don't want to push past it because then they don't have to walk through it. You want them to walk through it because it's bad positioning for them, right? So don't hold in the front, don't hold in the middle, let them come to you. Besides that, positioning honestly was not too terrible. So overall, that goes probably like a low to medium. And then finally, we have awareness / aggression, very massive category, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to our environments. What's our team up to? What are they doing, right? Where's the enemy team? What are they up to, right? Make sure that we're not just kind of walking through our gameplay, doing a slow pan, and kind of not really paying attention to our surroundings. But we want to be walking around doing, constant left, right, what's happening behind me, right? We want to be looking around. Make sure that before you're getting aggressive that you're checking, do I have my team with me? So I'm about to turn this corner and get aggressive. Wait, one moment. Do I have my team? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm good, right? No, I don't. Let me wait a second. Pay attention to your health bar. Pay attention to the enemy team's health bars. Pay attention. There's sometimes where people were low and we didn't really notice or capitalize, right? Pay attention to what's happening in kill feed, right? Because that adjusts your aggression, right? Pay attention to like tab, what what composition are they running, right? They have mercy. Okay, I need to watch dead bodies now, right? So all these different things to pay attention to. Other than that, the aggression factor, big one is aggression scaling, right? Pay attention to all these different factors and then adjust your aggression accordingly, right? We go up with advantages and opportunities. We go down with disadvantages and lack of opportunities, right? Or not, sorry, that's what I meant to say. Lack of resources, right? We go down with a lack of resources. Right, so sometimes we were at 80% when we should have been at 20%. Sometimes we're at 20% when we should have been at 80%, right? So make sure that we are understanding when we do each, and you were already starting to do much better than that during the session, but you need to keep that up when I'm not here to remind you about it, right? So that is about it. Let's put that all in order real quick. Number 1 is your awareness / aggression. Number 2 is probably like your ability usage. Number 3 is your mechanics. Number 4 is your positioning, and then number 5 is your ultimate usage. That's your order for things, though as of the moment you're mainly focusing on number 1, and then even within that I'd probably say aggression scaling is the biggest thing currently. If you start getting good at that, or you feel like you want to add something else to it, go ahead and add something else to it, right? And then that is about it. You have any questions about anything?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to stop